Yes, indeed. What's happening, world? B Marsh Boxing, we back at it. Fights we didn't get to see. I'm back at it with my series. Check me out on my playlist. And we about to take you back to 88. Take it back to 1988, a fight that we should have seen. Two fellow yardmen, two Jamaican fellas. Lloyd Honeyghan. At this particular time, the WBC 147-pound champion versus the IBF 147-pound champion, none other than Simon Brown. You know what I mean? Two Jamaican guys, both based in foreign countries. Simon Brown, based out of Washington, D.C., the nation's capital, USA, and the man Lloyd Honeyghan, Jamaican born, but based out of London, England, capital of the UK, or capital of London, of Britain. You know what I mean? So, this is a fight that should have happened, man. Man, these two guys should have had a two-fight contract. You know what I'm saying? Two-fight contract. Fight on each other's home turf, you know what I mean? You check it. One fight in England. Matter of fact, yeah, matter of fact, a trilogy. One fight in England, one fight in Washington, D.C., and the trilogy, the final fight, depending on how the first two go. The final fight in Kingston, Jamaica. That'd be sweet, wouldn't it? You know what I mean? In a perfect world, a promoter's dream would probably try to make that type of trilogy happen. But more than likely, you know, boxing, man. We do a lot of dreaming in boxing, dream fights of current guys who are champions in the same era, but we never gonna get to see. That's how it is as a boxing fan. But hey, so like I said, check out my playlist, man, on my YouTube channel. Fights we didn't get to see. I talk about all fights that we didn't get to see in boxing. Not no mythical matchup shit. Not no who would win between um I don't know, Oscar De La Hoya at 147 versus Sugar Ray Leonard at 147. Nah, we do mythical matchups. Basically matchups of guys who were in the same era, fights we didn't get to see. Like for example, two guys right now, Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua, same era of heavyweights, but it's a fight we never got to see and we probably might never get to see. But we shall see. You know what I mean? So let's get into it. You know what I mean? Simon Brown's about 5'9". Um, he has a reach of 71 inches. You know what I'm saying? Um, and you know, Simon Brown is a guy who had only lost one fight in the 1990s. You know what I mean? Only excuse me, in the 1980s, had only lost one fight, and that was a split decision to Marlon Starling. You know what I mean? So the man Lloyd Honeyghan is 5'8", 69 inches. Now let's talk about how these guys became world champions. Um, Simon Brown became a world champion when he won a vacant IBF title in France. He fought he fought Tyrone Trice, you know what I mean? Tyrone Trice. He was the guy he fought in a grueling fight, a fight where Simon Brown had to show character and show he has a heart of a champion. You know, he got dropped, I believe, was it in the second round, but he came back, was down on points, you know what I mean, in the first half of the fight, in a 15 rounder, mind you, and came back and dropped Tyrone Trice in the later rounds like three times in one round. I can't remember. I think it was in the 12th round. And then he went on to stop him in the 14th round with a beautiful right hand. That was a great fight right there. That's how the man Simon Brown became a world champion. You know what I'm saying? The man went through hell and back to become a world champion, and he achieved his dream, and it was over when it was owned by the man Lloyd Honeyghan. Honeyghan had upset arguably the best in boxing at the time, pound phenom and titles. Lloyd Honeyghan upset him in a crucial upset, beat the shit out of him. I believe that fight was in New Jersey, you know what I mean? Beats the shit out of Donald Curry. And the crazy thing about it, Lloyd Honeyghan had told the press and anybody, the media, and anybody who would listen to him that he's gonna batter Donald Curry, and that's exactly what he did, forcing Donald Curry to retire in the 6th round and not come out for the 7th round. Okay, So that's how the man Lloyd Honeyghan became a champion, and he had three straps. He didn't defend the WBA title. He threw it in the trash can immediately because he had to fight his mandatory, which was a South African dude. I can't remember the South African dude's name, but that dude fought Mark Breland for the vacant. I'm seeing the fight in my head right now. I just can't remember the dude's name. So Mark Breland fought that South African for the vacant WBA title, and them fellas, Lloyd Honeyghan threw the belt in the trash because he wasn't going to face a South African. He was basically boycotting the South Africans fighters because of apartheid that was going on in the 80s and the 70s. You know what I mean? In South Africa. So he was protesting, and he didn't defend that title. He threw it in the trash. Okay. Now, with that being said, now he has two titles, and that's the WBC and the IBF. He fought a guy by the name of Johnny Bumpkus, and he beat Johnny Bumpkus, but uh, that IBF strap was not on the line. Okay, no, I lied. It was. I'm sorry. When he fought Jorge Vaca, excuse me. When he fought Jorge Vaca in the first fight, a tough, rugged Mexican, for the WBC. The IBF didn't recognize that fight because Jorge Vaca was not rated in the IBF rankings. So only the WBC belt was on the line. The man, what's his name? Lloyd Honeyghan lost the fight due to headbutts on a technical decision. You know what I'm saying? Jorge Vaca gets to keep the WBC belt, and the IBF belt, which wasn't on the line in the first place, was left vacant. Lloyd Honeyghan didn't get to keep that IBF belt, okay? So them fellas, Lloyd Honeyghan had a rematch with the man Jorge Vaca, and he beats the shit out of him, stops him in 3 rounds, so he gets back his WBC belt. So that's how that IBF belt now, when it was stripped from the man, or it was left vacant when Lloyd Honeyghan couldn't defend it and he lost, then what you call it? That's how Tyrone Trice and Simon Brown got to fight for the vacant IBF strap. So that's how that them two guys became world champions. Okay, now a unification should have been possible around 1988 because I believe that's the year Simon Brown became a world champion when he beat Tyrone Trice in France. Okay, because Lloyd Honeyghan eventually lost his WBC, and he was a lineal champion, mind you. Don't forget it twisted. Lineal champion from beating the man Lloyd Honeyghan. So he still had that. Jorge Vaca had it for a quick 5 minutes till he lost in the rematch. Okay? Now, Lloyd Honeyghan lost his WBC belt to the man, what's his name? Marlon Starlin. He got the shit beat out of him. That shit wasn't even funny, you know what I mean? Really wasn't. You check it. So, with that being said, a unification would have been nice between two yardies, you know what I mean? Two Jamaicans. Simon Brown versus Lloyd Honeyghan, you know what I mean? And like I said, 1988 would have been the perfect year. Both guys were world champions. You know what I mean? I mean, they could have fought anywhere from when Donald Curry, I mean, Lloyd Honeyghan beat Donald Curry from like 1986. But the fight would have made more sense and more money and be more spicier if both guys brought a world title to the table, and especially Lloyd Honeyghan going back to fight for his world title that used to be his, the IBF strap. Okay, now who do I think would win this fight? Difficult fight to call, you know what I mean? Very difficult fight to call. I think the man Lloyd Honeyghan, he had some decent title defenses, you know what I'm saying? He had some good guys he beat, you know. Um, but that Jorge Vaca fight, that was no good, man. How he lost that fight, even though it was on cuts. Did beat Maurice Blocker, you know what I mean? Simon Brown's best friend from Washington, D.C. And of course, Donald Curry, you know what I'm saying? Those are good W's, you know what I mean? But the man Simon Brown had a longer reign. He had about nine title defenses with his IBF strap and also unified his WBC and IBF title. I'm sorry, WBC and IBF title versus his best friend Maurice Blocker. And these two guys, mind you, had said these guys knew each other from high school. They went to Roosevelt High School up here in D.C., Georgia Ave, Petworth. You know what I mean? They had promised themselves that they never gonna fight each other. You know what I'm saying? From when they were in high school. But eventually, the money was undeniable, and these two guys decided, hey man, we're gonna have to do what we gotta do, man. So unification. Let's put money on our on our families' tables, cause really and truly, them fellas, Simon Brown. A lot of people duck that guy, man. But that's for a whole nother video. You know what I mean? A lot of people were not trying to get this guy a payday. You know what I'm saying? But you know, Jorge Vaca also got stopped by Simon Brown. Was a title defense in Jamaica. Stopped him in 3 rounds. You know what I mean? You know, he had beat Kevin Howard. I don't think that was on the title defense though. But he beat the man Tyrone twice, at least 2 times. You know what I'm saying? He gave him a rematch, and he beat him in a rematch. Yeah, what's happening? E Woodson. E Woodson's in the chat. Says, "Love, brother. Give thanks, man. Thanks for coming through." Dropping some old school history, fights we didn't get to see. Check out my playlist, you know what I mean? Check out my playlist. But yeah, so let's talk about styles and matchups, you know what I mean? And I personally think, Lloyd Honeyghan was a beautiful boxer when he was first boxing. Like the guy who fought Donald Curry. That guy was a smooth boxer, you know what I'm saying? A guy who could fight bouncing on his toes, you know what I'm saying? A guy who he had power. He had knocked out that guy Gianfranco Rossi, you know what I mean? When he won the European title, you know what I'm saying? He knocked out Johnny Bumpkus. And mind you, Gianfranco Rossi went on to become a two-time junior middleweight champion, you know what I'm saying? He knocked out Johnny Bumpkus in 2 rounds. You know what I mean? Jorge Vaca stopped him in 3 rounds. So the man could punch and he could box too. You know what I'm saying? Don't get it twisted. You know what I mean? The man had a nice, relaxed, fluid movement. The man would bounce on his toes, use his footwork. You know what I'm saying? And he was great at punching in range. You know what I'm saying? You know, and he definitely had quicker hands than the man Simon Brown. You know what I mean? So it would have been a thing of beauty to see who's going to win this fight and whose attributes would and who is the most complete fighter. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? The man Simon Brown, he had a chin. Simon Brown, his nickname was Mantequilla. That's he was named that by his coach, Pepe Correa. You know what I'm saying? Go check out my community page. I showed you the old gym in the church where Simon Brown and Pepe Correa's gym was. You know what I mean? And Maurice Blocker and them used to train. You know what I mean? And also Sugar Ray Leonard will pop up occasionally. You know what I'm saying? Because those are guys. Simon Brown and Maurice Blocker, they looked up the man Sugar Ray Leonard. You know what I'm saying? He's the best fighter to ever come out of the DMV, Maryland, DC area. You know what I mean? So he would occasionally come into the gym, and also Pepe Correa coached knew Ray Leonard from the Palmer Park days in PG County, Landover. You know what I mean? You check it. Um, but like I said, his name was Montequilla, but he definitely was a smooth boxer, you know what I'm saying, early on in his career, you know what I mean? But then the man Simon Brown became like a stark and heavy-handed puncher, you know what I mean? He had one of the best left hooks in boxing during the 80s and the early 90s, you know what I mean? He definitely had you know, the man beat the shit out of what's his name, even when he went up in weight, out of Terry Norris. Dropped him with a jab, mean left hooks. You know what I'm saying? The man, Montequilla, Simon Brown, was a good fighter, you know what I'm saying? Very underrated fighter. A guy nobody wanted to fight. And paydays eluded this guy for most of his career, which is a damn shame, you know what I mean? It's a damn shame. But overall, like I said, the man, what's his name? Lloyd Honeyghan used to be a smooth boxer, but after Donald Curry shit, man, them fellas believed in his power, and all he wanted to do was knock people out. You know what I mean? He was also no stranger to roughhouse tactics, you know what I'm saying? And he became basically a swarmer, you know what I mean? And him being the shorter fighter than Simon Brown had a stiff jab. His best attributes was his stiff jab and that left hook from hell, you know what I mean? And man, it'll be a very good fight, man. This was a fight boxing fans definitely missed out on, and I believe they would have had a trilogy. I believe these guys would probably be 50 years old and they'd probably still want to get it on, you know what I mean? Because of the kind of contributions and also the kind of money they could make, you know what I mean? I'm not saying it'll be money like fighting Sugar Ray Leonard, you know what I'm saying? But it would be good money for both these guys, especially Simon Brown, who, like I said, big paydays have eluded the man. You know what I mean? But as far as who I think will win, I think Simon Brown. It got them left hooks, man. You know what I'm saying? And I think them fellas at the time, what's his name? He got ruined. Lloyd Honeyghan got ruined by the man Marlon Starling. You know what I mean? And I think that this fight would definitely be before a Marlon Starling fight. You know what I mean? But I think if he tried coming in with that swarm tactics, you know what I'm saying, he would get knocked out by the man Simon Brown. And that's not to say that Lloyd Honeyghan ain't got a good chin. You know what I mean? He do have a very good chin, but the kind of style he started taking on, believing in his own power, like I said, when he was also, Johnny Bumpkins and these guys were champions at 140. He was also knocking out guys who were coming up in weight. You know what I mean? But I do believe if the man Lloyd Honeyghan stayed disciplined and boxed a perfect fight and avoids circles to his left to avoid that left hook from the man Simon Brown. I think he can beat him easily. Easy work. Because Simon Brown's kryptonite in his boxing career was pure boxers, you know what I mean? A guy like what's that guy's name? I said Dirt McGirt, excuse me, Buddy McGirt. Buddy McGirt schooled the shit out of him, man. You know what I'm saying? Terry Norris schooled the shit out of him too, you know what I mean? Bernard Hopkins, even though he was in a bigger weight, you know what I'm saying? He got put to sleep by Vincent Pettaway, but then again, Vincent Pettaway was a natural full-fledged 154 pounder, you know what I mean? But the man Simon Brown's kryptonite was pure boxers. But I highly doubt it that all of a sudden, them fellas Lloyd Honeyghan will switch back and go back to the guy who was the guy who beat Donald Curry. I highly doubt it. You know what I'm saying? I don't see it. You know what I'm saying? I really don't see it. And that's why I would favor the man Simon Brown to win this fight, probably by stoppage. You know what I mean? I think he wouldn't knock him out completely, flatline him, but I think he would knock him out on stoppage. You know what I mean? Knock him out on his feet. It'll be a beautiful fight, and I think it would probably be like a 10th or 11th round stoppage for the man Simon Brown. You know what I mean? So I think Simon Brown would become the WBC because eventually Simon Brown, what's his name? Simon Brown, Marlon Starling beat Lloyd Honeyghan for the WBC title. Then Maurice Blocker beat what's his name? Maurice Blocker beat Marlon Starling for the WBC title. Then eventually, with this IBF strap that the man Simon Brown has, he unified it versus his best friend from Washington D.C. from high school days. Simon Brown. You know what I mean? So excuse me, Maurice Blocker. So that's how he became a unified champion. But then he lost in his very next fight in in devastating fashion to the man Buddy McGirt. You know what I mean? So I got the man Simon Brown winning this fight via 10th to 11th round stoppage. B March Boxing, leave your thoughts and comments. Big up to E. Woodson coming through in the chat. Let me know how you guys see this fight and who do you think will win this unification that we should have had we should have seen happen in 1988, sometime in 1988. Two yardies, IBF WBC unification. Although the man eventually still became unified, but I wanted Lloyd Honeyghan versus Simon Brown. Leave your thoughts and comments. I'm gone. Peace.